first thing that I like to say around trauma is that in facilitation, immediately as you move in as a facilitator, there is already a power dynamic which is not equal. Because as a facilitator, there is a certain sense of authority, and depending on the trauma imprint of a participant, there is kind of facilitators are in a position of authority, and depending on the imprint, that can also trigger participants as well. So to minimize that sense of authority, sometimes it can also be seen or experienced as inferiority, superiority, and can go into those kind of dynamics with that unequal power. And an antidote to that really is to provide choice and agency to your participants. This is very, very important. So choice and agency around, for example, the dosage, for example, what people need in order to feel safe. So for example, even in the orientation of the room, placing people where they feel most safe and comfortable, where they sit with each other. Say they might have a support person that's there in the ceremony, and giving them choice and options to place themselves in the room where they feel safest can be very, very helpful. Giving people choice and agency around their needs and what they kind of need in the ceremony is very, very important. Giving them choice and agency, not forcing them to drink, multiple cups, in dosages. Those are some examples of choice and agency that is very, very important in trauma-informed clubness and facilitation. The second one is building the resilience of the participants, and you can, we'll share a list of what we can do to really help create a sense of regulation. Your own regulation as a facilitator is very, very important, and also being very attuned to the regulation in the nervous system of the group. Because if you're sensitive to the nervous system of the group, you will notice that if one person is very activated, then that will in turn affect the nervous system and the activation of the group as well. So there might be times where you might be able to even teach the group ways of regulation and building their resilience even before the ceremony starts. And that's what we'll share a little bit about. We need to be able to offer support in trauma resolution, and again, understand what people need for repair with trauma imprints. Really provide opportunities to help participants feel safe, supported, and definitely not alone in their experience, because being alone can lead to isolation and shame, and that can lead into re-traumatization. And orienting is so important, to bring clients or participants back to the present moment, and also orienting people to the structure of the ceremony, even preparing. So with Elio and myself at Healing Retreats, we see that the ceremony actually starts when the person signs up. And the medicine actually starts to work with people when they kind of sign up. So we are kind of guides and support people with layers of support, not just in the ceremony, but this trauma-informed plant medicine paradigm really starts before the ceremony and also in the integration process. Lastly, as trauma-informed facilitators, we need to know that less is more. In trauma, less is definitely more, because as we know with the definition, trauma happens when there is overwhelm to the nervous system. So if you give a person, for example, a big cup, more than they are able to metabolize, or for example, if there is a trend at the moment where there are a lot of, plant medicines together in a retreat happening kind of back to back every, 12 or 24 hours, or so to speak. A survivor of trauma, a trauma survivor, doesn't have the space to integrate, first of all, and there is a great risk of overwhelm. So in trauma recovery, traumatic imprints really need to be digested little by little. Yeah, nothing happens when there is a lot at a time, because what will happen to the nervous system is that people will get more and more activated, and then the nervous system will shut down and it will go into a freeze, and all the experiences that they have in the plant medicine experience, the altered state of consciousness experience, may be more difficult to integrate after the retreat is over, or after the ceremony. So less is always more in trauma resolution. I cannot stress this enough.